He tells Job at one point, Job's complaining about his life, and he says, Job, do you have an arm like God's? I just wonder, if he like flexed and, showed the Rocky Mountains or something. I mean, it's impressive to meet a guy who has big arms. I mean, I wish I had big arms. Right now, I'm just trying to keep them from flapping underneath. That's all I'm doing, working out. But I literally did a study of the arms of God, and it fascinated me. Just listen to a couple of these. With my great power and outstretched arm, I made the earth and its people and the animals that are in it, and I give it to anyone I please. God's got big arms. Listen, sovereign Lord, you have made the heavens and the earth with your great power and your outstretched arm. Nothing is too difficult for you. Nothing is too hard for you. And it's interesting, a lot of times when you read through these scriptures and God says, I've got a big arm, he talks about a big arm. He doesn't talk about big arms, plural. It's almost as if he's saying, look, I can take care of your problems with one hand tied behind my back. That's how big I am. Doesn't that make you feel better about your dad? To know he's big? I mean, when you were a little kid, weren't we always in that situation where you wanted your dad to be, the big guy? My dad can beat up your dad. I heard some kids talking on the schoolyard one day. One kid said, my dad can beat up your dad. And the other kid said, big deal, so can my mom. That's not good, okay? That's just not good. One of the other important qualities about God and his arm is the reach of his arm. If you followed boxing back in the day, Muhammad Ali was one of the greatest ever because he had such long arms. He could get to people before they could get to him. Listen to this. Surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save, nor his ear too dull to hear. Isn't that funny? Well, he asked Isaiah, was my arm too short to ransom you? Do I lack the strength to rescue you? The Lord answered Moses, is the Lord's arm too short? I mean, I just picture, God doing a little Tyrannosaurus, impression. Hey, Moses, do you think I can't do this? I've got a pretty good reach. I have pretty good strength. You will now see whether or not what I say will come true for you. Are my arms too weak? Are my arms too short? No, they're not. So process this when Jesus gets into the Sermon on the Mount and he says, therefore I tell you, do not worry. It's not really about you. It's about your understanding of God. Do you see? Why should you not worry? Because nobody can beat up your dad. And he goes on in the Sermon on the Mount, and he says, why are you worried about your life? Why are you worried about what you're going to wear or what you're going to eat or any of those things? Your Father in heaven, he takes care of the birds and the flowers. Surely he can take care of you.